Off the Cuff is supported by Patreon. Join today and become an honorary producer and get in-show credit on every episode. Hi everybody and welcome to Off the Cuff. Well, today we have another true off the cuff episode. This is a food I have never made before. Now, I'll back up. Yes, I've made meatballs before, but I've never made Swedish meatballs. Never. As a matter of fact, I don't think I even had any. Maybe at a wedding, maybe at a New Year's party or something, but I really don't remember. However, when I was researching this, I could not believe how good every picture of Swedish meatballs looked. I mean, look at that. Just look how good that looks. Oh, I knew right then and there I was gonna have to make this food. And I know what you're probably thinking, they're meatballs. They aren't that high in carb. Actually, they are made with bread or breadcrumbs, so they can have carbs. But for my Swedish meatballs, I'm using ground pork rinds or pork panko, so that solves that. Also, some of the sides they use, like lingonberry jam and also potatoes, well, therein lies the carbs. But I'm not making lingonberry jam this time around, but I am going to make mashed cauliflower, yeah. And I have my own special recipe. I've done it before. I'm going to share it again, and I'm going to add a little something extra, so keep watching so you see that. Yeah, Swedish meatballs. I have to admit though, I did get some blowback on this. Yeah, from unexpected sources. Some people did not want me to make Swedish meatballs. It happened in the park. It did. Here, watch.
Hey, excuse me.
How can I help you?
You're that chef guy.
Well, technically I'm not a chef.
You got a show, a cooking show, Off the Nut.
Cuff, off the cuff.
Yeah. You cook food for people without any bread or sugar or stuff.
Right, I prepare food that's low carb.
That's it. And here we are meeting it like this in this big, beautiful park. What are the odds?
Yeah, what are the odds?
Actually, they're very good.
Huh.
Okay, Carb boy.
Carb boy?
Yeah. Word on the street is that you're planning on making some Swedish meatballs.
I am. That's actually on the street?
You know what I mean. It's a little birdie told me. Oh, come on. Not a real bird, genius. The point is, you need to change your menu.
Change my menu?
Yeah, cook something else. Maybe something French? French fries. That's it. Done. Forget about the meatballs.
Well, I appreciate the suggestion, but my menu's set.
Oh, that was not a suggestion. No. Cook something else, or else.
That kind of sounds like a threat. What's all this about?
Okay, Mr. Carb, I happen to work for a very large organization that specializes in furniture. You know, the type that you take home and put together with your family? And the husband tries to do it without looking at the instructions, and then he can't do it, and the wife starts screaming at him, and the kid starts crying. Bada bing, bada boom. 6 hours later, you've got a lousy end table. I'm not naming names, but you get the idea.
I get the idea, but what does it have to do with me and what I'm cooking?
My employer feels like you are infringing on their intellectual property. People go to our stores just for the meatballs, and if you show how to make it, that would be bad for business and your health. For stardo? Oh, man. Capiche?
Oh, so you are threatening me.
Well, let me see how I can say this nicely. Yeah. Now, are you going to 86 the meatballs, or do we have to 86 your face?
Oh, what's your name?
It's Vic.
Hey, Vic, I'm Craig.
Yeah, I know. We've met.
Yeah, but have you met my bodyguard?
Whoa. Whoa. Hey, Frank.
Hey, Vic.
So, what is Mr. Carb here paying you for this?
$50. Oh, and all the meatballs I can eat.
Oh, I'll pay you $200 and we'll hit In and Out after. What do you think? Who's bodyguard?
Well, I guess you got me. I'm not going to be able to make those delicious, creamy, diabetic and keto-friendly meatballs or that luscious, pillowy mashed cauliflower. I guess I'll just have to make something else.
Whoa, what the f, Frankie?
Sorry, Vic. My doctor says I'm pre-diabetic. It's nothing personal.
No, are you kidding? Is that all you have to say for yourself?
Actually, no. Here are the ingredients.
Okay, let's get cooking. First up, the ingredients for the Swedish meatballs. 1/2 pound each of ground beef and ground pork. 1/2 cup of pork rinds, well ground. 1 small onion. 1 clove of garlic, chopped. 1/8 of a cup of heavy cream. 1 egg, and 1/2 teaspoon each of salt and black pepper. And now for the meatball sauce. 4 tablespoons of salted butter. 2 tablespoons of coconut flour. 3/4 of a cup each of beef broth, chicken broth, and heavy cream. 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of mustard, and 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum or cornstarch. And finally, for the garlic mashed cauliflower. 1 head of cauliflower, 1/2 cup each of heavy cream, butter, and mashed potato flakes. 1/2 tablespoon of garlic powder or to taste, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay, so we have all of our ingredients for the meatballs. I'm scrambling the egg. I think this is the second episode in a row where I forgot to pre-scramble, but it took 30 seconds, not even 30, it took 10 seconds, so it doesn't matter. So first thing is, we're going to take our 1/2 pound each of ground beef and our ground pork into the bowl, and I'm going to put in the dry stuff first. This is the pork rinds. There we go. The garlic that we just chopped. The onion, which I just diced. The salt and pepper, which I bought in the store. And once you have all the dry ingredients in, we're gonna kind of mix it up a little bit. Yeah, just mix it. Okay, in goes the egg. And in goes the heavy cream. Because I'm going to use this rather than get my hands completely obliterated with all the mixings, but this should work just fine. We're going to mix our meatballs up. And I think it's going to come down to me putting my hands in here at some point. But to start out, I'm going to be using this implement. Oh, yeah, my hand's going to go in here now. Okay. We knew this was going to happen. Okay. Now I'm cooking just for myself, so this is just fine. I have nice clean hands. However, I would advise you, if you're cooking for friends, family, plastic or reusable gloves you can wear. Also, I want to mention at this point, preheat your oven at 400 degrees. Because we're going to be rolling the meatballs in about 30 seconds. First, we're going to line our baking pan with parchment paper. Spraying a little bit of oil on it, just a little bit. This will help the spraying with that oil will help keep that parchment paper in place. Now we're going to roll our Swedish meatballs. I already tried one. About a little less than a 1/4 cup makes the perfect size meatball. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a 1/4 cup. This should be easy. Roll the meatballs. And yet we're not frying them. We're not going to pan sear them. We are going to put them in the oven. We have 8. I think 12 is about what we're going to get. Maybe a little bit less. Okay, there's another one. There's 9. This one's gonna be a little skimpy, but that's all right. Let's get some of the onion off here. All right. Okay, here are our meatballs. They now go into a preheated 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes. Let's make our mashed cauliflower. The salted water here is boiling. Let me take off the top of that. It's good. Now, we're gonna trim our cauliflower. Yeah, you can actually buy mashed cauliflower now in the store, frozen if you like. I prefer making it myself, although in a pinch there's nothing wrong with that actually. Now we're just gonna cut the cauliflower into smaller pieces. And put it into the water. Some of these leaves have to come off still. All right, then, okay, it's gonna come back to a boil. Now the question probably is, how long do we boil this for? The simple answer is you boil your cauliflower until it's fork tender. You put a fork in here, and if it gently goes into the cauliflower, it's ready. It's getting there. I would say it probably needs another 5 minutes. Let's see. Not exactly fork tender yet. 5 more minutes, and we're golden. Okay, now it's fork tender. Now I'm going to use this to transfer to this because I have no sink. And voila, the transfer has been done. Now I notice this is actually a smaller head of cauliflower, so I'm probably not going to use all of this, probably half of each. So let's start by pulverizing our cauliflower. Okay, that's well on its way. So let's start it. First thing I'm gonna do is now, it does say a half cup of butter. I'm gonna use a 1/4 cup. I think a half cup is too much. Let's put that in there and go. Now, as far as the heavy cream goes, this is a half cup. I'm gonna use maybe an 1/8 to start, because I don't want this to be too liquidy. I do have some more dry stuff, but still. Okay, let's see how that's looking. That's looking good. A little liquidy, but that's all right, because now we're gonna put in, this is the mashed potato flakes. This is a half cup. I'm not gonna put that much in. I'm gonna put in a half of that. That's a 1/4 cup. And believe me, the carbs are negligible. See how that's working? Yeah, that definitely gave a body. Now the garlic, I'm not going to put in the, I'm going to put in a half a tablespoon. I'm halving everything here. And the salt and pepper, half of that too. Yeah, I was expecting a much bigger cauliflower. All right, there is our mashed cauliflower. Okay, now all we have to do is make the sauce for our meatballs. Hey, but first, let's look at food facts. Swedish meatballs, or köttbullar, actually comes from a rich blend of cultural influences and Swedish traditions that date back centuries. Swedish meatballs were actually inspired by a variety of meatball recipes stemming from Europe and the Middle East, with key influences being from Turkey and Italy. The most referred to origin story credits King Charles XII when he brought back the concept of the meatballs when he returned from exile from the Ottoman Empire. Which is now Turkey today. A map of Turkey! Yes, that was in the 18th century. Charles reigned from 1697 to 1718. He was exiled following a military defeat. Once he was exiled, he actually was introduced to Turkish cuisine, which included kofta, which is a flat, spiced meat patty. Charles brought it back to Sweden, where it evolved into the Swedish meatball. Later in the 18th century, recipes for meatballs started popping up in Swedish cookbooks, but they were reserved for the rich, the elite, and the privileged, and were usually only served on rare or special occasions. Speaking of which, the first ever documented recipe for meatballs appeared in Casa Wag's 1765 cookbook, The Handbook for Household Management for Young Women. Most commonly, meatballs were made with a combination of beef, pork, and veal, while mixed with bread or breadcrumbs and soaked in milk, onions, eggs, and various spices. The addition of milk and bread actually helped keep the meatballs soft and moist, which became a trademark of Swedish meatballs. By the 19th century, Swedish meatballs became more mainstream and were enjoyed by all classes, households, and became a favorite at casual meals. At this time, Swedish meatballs could be enjoyed by nearly the entire population, mostly due to improved meat preservation methods such as salting or smoking. It was a favorite family dish for nearly the entire Swedish population. As Swedish cuisine blossomed and flourished, Swedish meatballs found itself being identified as a national dish, most times served with lingonberry jam, creamy gravy, and boiled or mashed potatoes. The dish is made with a variety of spices, including allspice, white pepper, salt, onion, and even nutmeg. The use of allspice and white pepper long differentiates Swedish meatballs from other meatball recipes. Swedish meatballs was now one of the nation's most beloved dishes, and in direct opposition to its origins, it's now considered a mainstay of home cooking and familial and large gatherings. Post-World War II, Swedish meatballs started to get worldwide attention. The Swedish comfort food actually got international recognition while appearing on the menus of the Swedish furniture store, IKEA. Starting in the 1980s, IKEA started serving an assortment of Swedish foods in their cafeterias as a way to enhance the shopping experience. The meatballs got extremely popular right away and were enjoyed by and introduced to millions. And now it's time for Swedish meatball trivia. October 9th is World Meatball Day. Swedish meatballs are smaller than other meatballs from other cultures, usually about the size of a golf ball or even smaller, and when served as an appetizer, you can eat them on toothpicks. Nowadays, there are popular vegetarian versions of Swedish meatballs. They're made with lentils, mushrooms, and soy. To this day, meatballs are a Christmas favorite in Sweden. A staple on the Yuletide buffet Jalbord, they are served alongside ham, pickled herring, and other Yuletide favorites. And now some facts about cauliflower and mashed cauliflower. March 8th is National Cauliflower Day. Cauliflower has been cultivated for thousands of years. It originated in the Mediterranean and then spread its way through Europe and Asia. Mashed cauliflower only rose in popularity recently. In the early to mid-2000s, many high-end chefs started featuring the dish on their menus, making it a more popular side dish. Obviously, mashed cauliflower is a low-carb alternative to mashed potatoes. It's lower in calories, higher in fiber, and contains high amounts of vitamin C, K, and folate. It's also loaded with antioxidants. Cauliflower isn't always white. It comes in other colors, such as purple, orange, and green. Cauliflower is actually a flower. What we consume is the underdeveloped flower head, which is known as the curd. And finally, let's address the elephant in the room. Stop it. Cauliflower is very polarizing. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people tolerate it. In my opinion, mashed cauliflower elevates it. And that's Food Facts. Let's make our sauce. First, we're gonna make a roux. So I'm gonna put this on medium heat, and we're putting in, by the way, I'm having this recipe because I don't have as many meatballs, so all these are gonna be halved, but here goes 2 tablespoons of butter. Okay, as this melts. Now normally you would put flour in here. We are of a kind, we're putting in coconut flour. That's how we're gonna make our roux. And a roux is basically just the beginnings of a gravy or a sauce. Now we put in our wet stuff. In goes the chicken broth. In goes the chicken broth. In goes the beef broth. Like I said, I'm having all of these ingredients. And the heavy cream. I want to mix it all really nice. Already it's getting that nice appealing color. But it is going to get yellower. It surely is. Because in goes the last wet ingredient, mustard. And I wasn't sure if this was going to be liquid mustard or powdered. I looked it up and I saw people doing both. So I used the yellow mustard that's in my refrigerator. You could use Dijon, I suppose. The recipe didn't specify, so I'm using plain old yellow. I'm just making sure this is all mixed together real well. Okay, now that it's mixed together real well, we're going to let it simmer for 10 minutes and thicken. It's thickening nice. I'm going to put in, I decided to go for the 1 carb, and I'm going to put in cornstarch actually. That's 1/2 teaspoon of cornstarch. Mix it in. You know, I wasn't kidding when I said I don't think I've ever had Swedish meatballs before. I gotta tell you, I'm going back to 1967 at my sister's wedding. I think they had them. I don't remember much about it. Yeah, because my mother said that I was running from table to table when people were dancing, and I was finishing people's drinks. Yeah, I was quite unconscious by the end of that wedding. Okay, our sauce is ready. Let's get those meatballs. Well, here are the meatballs, fresh out of the oven. Let's get them in the sauce. Oh boy. Now, I may not have made enough sauce, but that's okay. These look wonderful. Let's stir them up. Get them all in the sauce. Yum, yum. Wow. This looks amazing. Get all these luscious meatballs coated with the sauce. I think I got the amount of sauce just about right for the amount of meatballs I made. Look at that. Look how good this looks. Oh my. Oh. Yes. I made Swedish meatballs. And here we are, Swedish meatballs. Now add this to the list of foods which I looked at a long time ago and I went, I won't be able to do that. Well, I did it, and it looks absolutely fantastic. It really does. Oh, look at that. I made it myself. I say it every episode. Remember, I'm not a trained chef, so every time I do something like this, I really surprise myself. And I'm going to admit something. When I first rolled the meatballs, they were pretty big. And I said, you know what, they're supposed to be smaller. So I went back and I re-rolled them. So instead of getting, well, I think 9, I have like 13. So I made, I made adjustments as I went along. Again, I see this every time. Real easy to do. The sauce is easy. Making the meatballs is a breeze. And of course, I've made mashed cauliflower a million times. This looks great. I will admit, looking at this, it does look good, but it is missing a little color. That lingonberry jam, which is red, would really make this plate, but maybe next time. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try one with the mashed garlic cauliflower. Here we go. Oh. I can't talk. It's so good. The meatballs explode with flavor. I mean, when you mix the pork and the beef, and then you had all the spices. Wow, the onion and the garlic mashed cauliflower. Nobody would be able to tell it's not potatoes. I dare you, seriously. It has the same consistency. It looks like it. Garlicky. I love it. This is fantastic. It's a Christmas tradition in Sweden. Maybe I'll make them for Christmas this year. I don't know. I'm gonna try it again. I'm just gonna cut one of these. The meatballs, I think, are still a little bit big, but I don't care. One more time. Ever taste something so flavorful you get goosebumps? I'm getting goosebumps. This is magnificent. It's low carb. It's delicious. Try this. Trust me. You are going to love it. Well, that's it for this time around. I'm here again in 2 more weeks with another recipe and another show. Until then, be well, eat good.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
How you doing, what's up?
Got anything else to say for yourself? No. Yeah. You got anything else to say for yourself?
Sorry, my doctor says I'm pre-diabetic.
Okay.
Nothing personal.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You kidding? You got anything else to say for yourself?
No, keep going. All right.